Hey all, a quick 3 minutes here and an RIP. A company that we once had a marketing agreement with, Veji Holdings, Veji, has succumbed to the inevitable and has agreed a bankruptcy proceeding with creditors that will essentially hand over the majority of shares in the company to the creditors. If you still have Vejii stock, then you didn't listen to us when we told you this was coming a long time ago. Look, inevitably, when a company gets into this kind of shape and the stock goes down to a half cent or a 1 cent, there are people who play the odds that maybe they can get themselves out of it. From my reckoning, we've had two companies in the last 4 years that we know of that have gone to this sort of bankruptcy proceeding that we've had commercial relationships with, which isn't bad considering there's been about 85 companies in that time that we've had deals with. Vejii, unfortunately, flew too close to the sun, tried to make too big a business. They essentially wanted to be the Amazon of plant-based food. There's a lot of real-world logistics involved in that, and probably they could have gone in a way that had a lot less money required up front. When they ran out of access to expansion capital, they didn't have enough cash coming in to cover the VIG, and it all came crashing down. Not for lack of trying, that I can tell you. I've had lots of phone calls with the people behind this company earlier on where they were going through this process of trying to put it all together. They certainly were trying to build something big. The problem was what they were trying to build was too big, and really at a time when there are a lot of bigger companies out there doing the home delivery thing. Anyway, so what happens next? Well, if you still have Vejii stock, it's going to sit there for a little bit. Chances are that when this process is finished and the creditors own essentially the market cap of the company, they will own the shell. And this means that in all likelihood, in order for them to make any money back, they'll turn that shell over in some sort of an RTO into another company, which means while this is going to be a big red mark on your portfolio for a little while, it will likely one day you'll get an email or a note of some kind that says, congratulations, you own some amount of stock in something that is now something completely different. It could be a sneaker company, it could be a mining company, it could be mushrooms. You don't know. It's just going to be something that's going to sit on you for a little while until that day comes where you find out that you have three shares in something else. I've got a bunch of those in my share portfolio. Unfortunately, I've been in this game for about a decade, and it happens sometimes in the high risk, high reward space. Sometimes the best laid plans just don't work out. I'd actually put our record of being associated with companies where that doesn't happen alongside anyone else's in the business. It's inevitable, unfortunately, that sometimes one of the 25 companies at a time that we're talking about just can't make it through. I do enjoy the fact that these guys tried to make it, and that before they pulled the plug on things, the CEO himself borrowed or lent a whole load of cash to the company as a last ditch to try and get it over the line. That tells me that the actual intentions here were good. They just couldn't get it over the line. The last bits of the company, the domain name, have been sold off to Plant X, which has a kind of a previous business relationship with the people behind this deal. I feel like they may be overpaid for it, but that's probably a good thing when it comes down to it. But hey man, this is the cost of doing business in the high risk, high reward microcap side of the market. Sometimes guys just run out of juice and it ends up in this place. Not always. Sometimes the upside makes up for it. And if your money is spread off over enough deals, generally over a long enough timeline, you make that money back. But sometimes it comes up that the best laid plans of mice and men do not come to fruition on the public markets, and this was one of them. So Vejii, RIP, we barely knew you, but hey, I'm sure we'll see you back again sometime in some other form.